Hello students, welcome back to discussion of chapter 12. Wrapping up this chapter by looking at some core competencies, differences, and the preferred entry mode, and then pressures for cost reduction and entry mode. So core competencies and entry mode. If your core competency is technological know-how, as it says there, firm's competitive advantage, your core competence, is based on control over proprietary technological know-how. Licensing and joint venture arrangements should be avoided, if possible, to minimize the risk of losing control over that technology. Generally, if your core competency is technological based, then preferred mode of entry is the wholly owned subsidiary. Let's take a look at when your core competency is management know-how. So management skills. So the risk of losing control over the management skills is not high, and the benefits from getting greater use of brand names is significant. The preferred choice is a franchise or a joint venture. So competitive advantage, including McDonald's, is that management know-how. As it says there, these firms' valuable asset is their brand name, and brand names are generally well protected by international laws pertaining to trademarks. So go ahead and franchise or establish that joint venture. A breakdown of pros and cons for acquisitions or greenfield ventures. The choice depends on the situation confronting the firm. Greenfield strategy, you build a subsidiary from the ground up. A greenfield venture may be better when the firm needs to transfer organizationally embedded competencies, skills, routines, and culture. Acquisition strategy, basically acquiring an existing company. Target with Zellers, Canadian Tire with White Stores, others. An acquisition may be better when there are well-established competitors or global competitors interested in expanding. The volume of cross-border acquisitions has been rising for the last couple of decades. The main advantage of a greenfield venture is that it gives the firm a greater ability to build the kind of subsidiary company that it wants. But greenfield ventures take longer to establish and are also more risky. So, a couple slides about why acquisitions fail. First, you may overpay for the assets of the purchased firm. You may overpay because the price of that target firm can get bid up if more than one firm is interested in its purchase, as is often the case, as it says. So then you're overpaying. Acquisitions can also fail because there is a clash between the cultures of the acquiring and acquired firm, and not just cultures based on countries, as we've discussed, but there could be organizational cultural differences as well. After an acquisition, many acquired companies experience high management turnover, possibly because their employees do not like the acquiring company's way of doing things. So you may lose some people that you don't necessarily want to lose. Another reason why acquisitions fail, as we can see with Target and perhaps even with Canadian Tire, is that firms just forget to do enough homework. They forget the stuff that we've learned from our first assignment. Looking at political, economic, legal differences, looking at consumer behavior and patterns. Just doing some looking for Target, looking how big Canada is. Are some reasons why some acquisitions fail. just not doing their homework. So the last slide is just an example overview of some common problems and solutions of entry mode using China as an example. It's not a specific example tied to companies, but just using made up example using with China. So you can go through that. There's nothing in there really that is going to be significant for what we need for this chapter. That is it for chapter 12.